Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. So I know I've been gone for over a month now. It was only meant to be a couple of weeks, but it just extended itself. But I'm back. I, I don't think I'm going to be back as often as I was, but I am going to be back and doing things. So while we work on this, I'm going to tell you, first I'm going to tell you what we're working on, and then I'm going to tell you why I've been gone. And this isn't going to be a very long video and I'll explain why, because it has to do with the project. But we're working on the 2023 temperature blanket. I only have 3 rows left, or 3 days, the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. And I've saved them to work with you. So I gotta figure out where I left off. Not here, I don't think. But after I finish those 3 rows, I'm gonna have to stop the video and I'll make a new one afterwards. Because my plan is to give it a gray border. Excuse me. So my temperature blanket is worked in 2 pieces, because if not, it was going to be a very long temperature blanket. So it's worked in, it ends over here. This is 1/2. This is July through December. And the other one is January through June. So because of that, they're not the exact same size, right? Because there's not the exact same amount of days. Excuse me. There's not the exact same amount of days in each of those 6-month time frames. So I'm going to need to add some extra rows of gray onto one of those panels, the first panel, because of February. So I'll need to do that off camera and measure, count out the rows and everything, and do that. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to differentiate. I want the gray, so I want there to be a row of gray along the edge here, and then I want it to go in a little bit to differentiate the months. So right now I have a stitch marker here for the months, but I want it to go in, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet. So I don't want to do that on camera, because it could be a lot of silence and a lot of waiting on me to figure it out. So I'm going to do the first row around myself, and then I'll come back and we'll finish the border together. So today we're just going to work on the last 3 days of the month and talk a little bit about where I've been. Oops. Too much stuff on my desk here. Oh, it was right here. This is where I left off. If I ever do a temperature blanket again, I think I've said it before, I'm not doing rows. I'm doing like granny squares or something. And I'm not doing traditional bright colors. I'm doing muted colors. Just putting it out into the universe. I need some yarn. So I left off at 64 degrees. Let me make sure this is right. Which was mid-green, which is this color. Oh, there's cat fur all over. I love it. And the next is 65, 66, and 65, which is all the same color, which is turquoise. So let me scooch on over here, and I think this is turquoise. Yep, this is turquoise. It's a very bright color it's actually, my colors are a little weird. They're not traditionally necessarily warm and cold colors. They were just colors that I liked, honestly. Okay, so let's I'm gonna move that stuff up there. My desk is a mess. Okay, so let's fix this because I accidentally undid it. Okay, so now I need to, it's getting harder to turn this, so I apologize if I hit the microphone. Oops, I've already split this. Okay. So, about where I've been. Started out, I left a community post very vaguely saying that I was just having a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, and that was true. I needed a break. I needed to take a step away, and that was true. What I didn't say was that I was going through, I didn't want to talk about it because I was going through something medical, and I was waiting on test results. I was waiting on scans and test results, and I didn't want to talk about it and get anybody worked up when I didn't know if there was even anything wrong. And it turns out there was nothing wrong. But it was a really stressful time. I don't know how much about this I can talk on YouTube about. I'll just be roundabout about it. I found an abnormality somewhere that I'm quite young. I'm too young to have mammograms, and I found an abnormality, and my doctor wanted me to get an ultrasound, and because of my age, I'm also required to get a mammogram when an ultrasound is requested. So I had to wait a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, to get these tests done. And those were the longest. And I've had cancer scares before. I've had a cancer scare before, one, with my brain. And it was very scary. And this was very scary too. And this was very scary because the abnormality that I found was very indicative of cancer. And but it ended up being nothing. They were able to tell me at the exams that it was nothing. So I didn't even have to wait for results. I just had to wait for the exams, which was painstaking. So I was just under a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And on top of that, my great uncle who moved here, I don't know, about a year ago, over a year ago, has cancer. And he's already had one surgery. He's going to have another surgery to try and get as much more out. And then he's going to have chemotherapy and radiation. And it's just stressful. You know, we're all he's got. So we're trying to be every bit as supportive as we can and do everything we can for him. And it's just, and I'm a little selfish, and I don't want to lose another family member. So it's just been a lot. And I don't handle anxiety well. I kind of shut down and do the bare minimum. I function, but I do the bare minimum. And so, like, you know, I'm able to more or less clean my house. Not well, but you know, it eventually gets there. And on top of it, I'm now depressed. I think it was, I don't know if any of you guys just struggle with anxiety and depression, and you have, like, I was describing it to my mom, like, people think of highs as, like, emotional highs, like being happy, and you know, having exciting times in their life. But it really doesn't have to be that way. Emotional highs can be anxiety. And I feel like I rode this wave of anxiety for so many weeks, worrying about my cancer scare, that I crashed afterwards, and now I'm depressed. So now I'm just dealing with that. And I'm struggling to find motivation to do things. I'm trying to get myself to color a little bit now and then, which I'm enjoying. I just got the newest Coloring Heaven. I bought and downloaded the newest Coloring Heaven mandala book, like the Christmas one. I don't remember what it was called, Yuletide or Festive or something like that. And so I printed out all of those, and I've been coloring that, which has been nice. But life has been rough. And I don't say it to be like, you know, pity me or whatever. I really don't. I just kind of wanted to give an explanation as to why I haven't been around. And it's not that I've just been wanting to abandon my channel and not talk and create with you guys. It's just been I've been finding it difficult to maintain my normal my normal life. So like my businesses, I'm doing the bare minimum. I'm not creating new work. I'm not marketing. I'm not doing anything. I wasn't doing anything for YouTube. I wasn't, you know, I'm doing the bare minimum, and I'm trying to do a lot of self-care, which is doing things that make me happy. So yeah, I hope everybody else is having a better time. I know the holidays can be tricky for a lot of people, and I think that's a little bit of what's happening with me too, that the holidays are tricky, and you just kind of have to go with the flow. And I can't believe Thanksgiving is like a week away. I can't believe it. I really can't. My mom told me that like a couple days ago. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's a week away? So we're going over to my aunt's house, because we would normally, Christmas and Thanksgiving, we usually trade off, and one of them we have at our house and one of them we have at their house, because we live so close to each other. We're neighbors, so it's easy enough to bring, you know, food and stuff to each other's houses. So, but this year my uncle's mom came to live with them because she had a stroke, and she's not well, and that makes me sad too, because I really like her. And so we're having both. She can't walk, so that we don't have, excuse me, my words. Our house isn't on the ground. It's quite a few steps up off the ground. So someone would have to carry her into the house, and that's just not doable. So we're going over to their house for both holidays. And I am baking a cake for both holidays, because I want to feel like I'm doing something. So I make a really good almond cake, gluten-free almond cake. Because typically what happens is we go over and everybody else makes desserts, and there's nothing for us to eat because we're gluten-free, and so we have to bring our own dessert. So my almond cake is pretty good, and I bake it in. Have any of you guys heard of Nordic ware? You ever seen the Nordic ware cake loaf pans or bundt cake pans? I'm starting to collect them slowly because they're expensive, but so far I have a loaf pan that looks like cut glass, or like a cathedral. and I have one that looks like a gingerbread house. So I have a really old one too that I got at a yard sale. They still make it, but this one is quite old, or it looks really old, and I just don't know if it just wasn't taken care of. It's supposed to be non-stick, but it didn't non-stick very well. The cake, it's like an orange lemon theme on top. So it's got like little slices of orange. Oops, sorry. Got like little slices of orange and lemon on it. But the cake stuck to it pretty bad, so I might need to get rid of that one. And I got it at some yard sale for like $5, so it wasn't a big loss. But anyway, so I'll make some cakes, and I'll probably make the cut glass one for Thanksgiving. Then I'll make the gingerbread one for Christmas. I just made the gingerbread one a couple weeks ago just to try it out, to make sure that the gluten-free mix wasn't gonna stick too badly in the mold. It didn't stick at all. It was great. And then I dusted it with powdered sugar so it looked like snow. The picture shows them, some of the pictures online show them decorating it with like piped icing for snow. But I don't think I have that much ambition. So powdered sugar it is. I hope all of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving have a nice holiday. I will see you before Christmas, so I will talk to you. I will wish you all well for that before then. And I haven't done this much crocheting in a while. My arm hurts. I did just get some yarn to make a blanket. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, like what stitch I'm going to do yet. It's not going to be a basic like single or double or half double. Going to be some kind of fancy stitch. But it's out of the, I'm really enjoying working with the Karen macchiato cakes, so it's out of that. I made a vest out of it, and I'm currently working on a scarf, and I made some gloves. I made a glove. The other glove just needs to be sewn up, but I really like working with it, so I got a couple different colors because they didn't have enough of one color to make a blanket, so I would have had to have ordered it and paid shipping. And actually, with the amount how much the yarn cost, I probably wouldn't have had to pay shipping. But I got some nice colors. Are the seasons changing for you where you live? The seasons are changing just a little bit here. They're cooled off a little bit. I have my Christmas tree up. I'm one of those people that puts my Christmas tree up right after Halloween. I actually put it up a little bit before Halloween because I was in so much stress. I just decided I needed some joy, so I did. I love my tree. I've decorated my house for Christmas too. Okay, we're coming up on the end here, and then we're going to end the video. Like I said, I will get us ready to do the border. And then the next video you see will be us working on the border together. I just need to figure out, I need to add the end caps on for the first 6-month section, and then figure out how to do the border where it goes in right here. Then I need to reevaluate where I put these stitch markers and make sure I get in between the right rows. Okay, but for now, if I were to leave this as is, we are officially done with the temperature blanket, with the colors of the temperature blanket. Except now I have 2 halves of a blanket and they're not connected. So what's also going to happen is I'm going to connect them, and then kind of like a quilt. If you've ever quilted before, I'm going to pick, like, this is just a little section here, like 5 points on the whole blanket, and use the gray and sew all the way through so that the blanket doesn't pull apart in the middle. I hate when blankets do that, when they're not stitched together, because then the blanket pulls apart and it's just this big mess. So I want them to be stitched together. So it won't be quilted, it'll just be, you'll have 5 points where it's stitched together. I think that'll work out well. Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to me ramble for however long this has been. Well, only 30 minutes. Again, you will see me again soon, and we'll work on finishing this thing, because it is going to be finished before the end of the year. And no, it's going to be finished before Christmas. That is my ultimate goal, and it's going to happen. That's how it's going to be. So I thank you all for listening. I hope you're all doing very well. And if you're not, I understand. It's okay. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye.